Sigma and Lean Six Sigma, basically. So Lean is a different concept. Six Sigma is a different concept, as we know. Similarly, now let's see the first thing. So, what do you think? Why Lean Six Sigma is still matters today? Since this is a very old concept, you must have learned this in the your previous green belts, or when you are like coaching people, you must know the little history about it. So, what do you think? Why it is still like relevant today? Why this matters? What do you think about it?
Because it works. It delivers results.
Right. So because see, some people say that Six Sigma is old, some people say that lean is like a very common thing, like a common sense, but it's still there are organizations. Uh, if this thing is true that this is an old theory and this is a common sense, then organization wouldn't be struggling today with the errors, with the customer complaints, or maybe a cost overrun. So these are the problems that organization still faces today. So this is why Lean Six Sigma matters, because in this complexity has increased, customer expectations are higher, and tolerance for waste is lower when we apply this Lean Six Sigma basically. So as we can see here, the problems don't just disappear because we ignore them. They disappear when we take the ownership. So this is what we learned through the Lean Six Sigma Black Belt throughout the course, that it is all about taking the ownership of the problem. So next thing, what problem does Lean Six Sigma actually solve? Since this is the first way, we are starting with the basics. So it's very important to get these things clear, and then we will be starting with our the main agenda and the main objectives of the course. So these are the problems. Lean Six Sigma fixes the problem from the root causes of this, as it is all about the continuous improvement. So once we are done with the first step, we will still go and see for the continuous improvement in that. So that is how it fixes the problem from the root itself. Then it helps in designing predictable processes as well, and preventing problems from occurring again, because as we say that we will be doing this over and over. So this is lean means the continuous improvement. So this is how it prevents the problem to occur over and over again. Next thing, these are two approaches. So there is this traditional approach, and then what is Lean Six Sigma approach. So what happens in traditional approach, like these are some examples of traditional approach given here, like firefighting, opinion-based decisions, where there is no data related. So it is only opinion-based. These are the traditional approaches that organizations follow, those who do not have the this expertise of Lean Six Sigma. So this is the traditional approach, but versus the Lean Six Sigma approach, this is a structured methodology. It is data-driven decisions. So we will be coming to the decision and conclusion. Yeah. Do you have any question, Michael?
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
Andreas. So the slides, are they very
Mhm.
different to the ones that we had received, or will we switch later to the slides that we have gotten?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We will be switching to the main
Okay.
slides. This is just like the starter
Okay.
slides. So this doesn't have any particular theory or things related to like the course. This is just like the basic ones. So once we are done with this, we'll be moving to that
Okay.
one. So nothing to worry. This doesn't have anything important that you will be missing out. This is just to discuss the basics of Lean Six Sigma
Okay.
before we move ahead with the main course. Okay. So, this is what a Lean Six Sigma approach is all about. It is about the process ownership. It focuses on the root cause, and the decisions that comes out of it are data-driven decisions. Okay, Lean versus Six Sigma. So, as I understand that you might already be aware of that Lean is a different concept and Six Sigma is a different concept. And why these both are needed. So let's see here. Lean focuses on the speed, flow, and waste reduction. Lean is all about the continuous improvement, while Six Sigma focuses on the accuracy, consistency, and defect reduction. So this is the main difference between Lean and Six Sigma that is there. Now, since you are already green belt, let's see what makes black belt work different from the green belt work. So in black belt, work on cross-functional programs and problems that are there. So it can be different functional, different processes problems as well. It also handle higher uncertainty. So black belt is uses for like bigger projects when there are higher chances of uncertainty. Also, it manages resistance and politics. Then it delivers financial impact as well. And in this black belt Lean Six Sigma, you will be able to coach others, maybe green belt for people for green belt as well. So this allows that as well. This also improves the green belt processes, and black belt transforms the system. So this is the basic that we have understood about the how it is different from the green belt. So all the concepts that we have discussed, variation, customer focus, data, waste, resistance are brought together using a structured methodology. So as you must be aware of that green belt works on a proper methodology, that is DMAIC, we call it DMAIC, which starting from the defining the problem, measuring the problem, analyzing the problem, improving, and then controlling the issue. So from here, we will be understanding how to define the problem, then how to measure, how do we analyze that, and then how we improve it intelligently, and then how can we control and sustain the results from black belt point of view. So this is the basics that we had to discuss. Now I think we can move to the slides that you guys have received. So that would be more relevant to you. Just give me a moment. I'll share the screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so starting with the course overview, let's quickly have a look. So this is the certification of the Six Sigma Black Belt course, the body of knowledge that is mentioned here. Sprintzeal book of body of knowledge aligns with the American Society of Quality, ASQ, which is the primary and premier training agency worldwide in the niche of Six Sigma. So this content is what aligns with the ASQ. So we'll be learning basis on the ASQ content. The table of contents that is covered throughout this course that aligns with the ASQ TOC version that was released in December 2014. Now let's quickly have a look at the agenda of this Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, what we will be learning throughout, what we will be able to learn, just the objectives of this course. So we will be starting with the about Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. We will be learning what is there in Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. Then we will be discussing some organizational roadblocks that are there in Lean Six Sigma Black Belts, role of communication and selection criteria in Black Belt. Uh, how do we place the communication in this whole Black Belt certification or Black Belt course? And then what are the selection criterias? Then overview of the continuous improvement. So since lean is all about the continuous improvement, we will have a look at the continuous improvement as well, and we will have an overview of the lean as well, the concepts that are explained in lean and the tools that are there in lean. So this is the agenda of the whole course that we will be covering during the duration of the 5 days. Though we will be covering this whole training material that is there, if there is anything you believe that might not be covered in this, or maybe if there is something that you feel you need more detailed knowledge, or maybe you want to understand something better, we can definitely plan that topic out of this training content as well. So feel free to, if you feel anything like this needs to be discussed which is not available here, so feel free to just let me know. I'll try to accommodate everything that you might feel that should be there. I'll try to accommodate that. Okay, so the agendas are clear. Do we have anything to discuss in the agendas?
Do we do housekeeping as well? When do we do breaks and whatever, so that we know how the every day is planned?
Okay, so yeah, I'll just give you a look of how the days are planned. So we will be having total 3 breaks. One break is like two breaks would be like 15 minutes, and the one would be the 1 hour long break, which will like a meal break in the middle of the session. So we will have our first break around 3:30, or we can say your time maybe after. Okay, since your time would be different, so we will be having like after 2.5 hours of training, we will be having one
Yeah.
small break. Then after 2.5 hours of training, we will having 1 long hour break, and then we will start with the second part of the day. After that, we will be having after like 2.5 hours of training, we will be having a small break of 20 or 15 to 20 minutes. So this is how the day is planned. In between, if you feel that it is getting too much, or there is like the pace is very fast, or maybe if you feel any feedback, then we can work accordingly, and we can have breaks accordingly as well. But yeah, this is how we have planned the training, the how it is going to look like. Is there
Yeah.
any additional question you have?
I have one thing at 8:30 India time. Yeah, I think it is. I need to finish, because then I have an important meeting I could not juggle around. But Jofi
Mhm.
makes their notes for me. We already agreed, and I think Jofi has also an issue on another day, and where I then will take notes. Yeah.
Okay, that's 8:30 India time, right?
Yeah.
All
But
right,
please
no
move
issues.
on, and then I will have a look.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I think we will be covering today's session. By then we'll be able to finish it. I just wanted to know if it is today, or maybe you will be having this timing
I have
for
this
the
today.
rest of the days as well. Okay, for today
No, no,
only.
for me it's just today. Jofi, when was
I
yours?
will have, I need to leave half an hour before on Wednesday, and on Thursday, 1 hour later.
Okay, okay, no issues. Yeah. So thanks for informing that. Accordingly, I will plan the sessions so that we will not be missing out on
Perfect.
something, and we will be covering all the topics that are there. Okay, so these agendas are clear about this whole training course about Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. Now let's start with the lesson one, section one of lesson one. So this is the agendas for today. The agenda that we have discussed previously was for the day 5 days of course. So today we will be discussing or we will be focusing on building the foundations basically, like what Six Sigma really is, who does what in Six Sigma organization, like roles and responsibilities, then what is expected from a black belt. So since we are doing this course, then we must understand that what are the expectations from this black belt course. And then why organizations resist the changes, and then we will be learning about some Lean Six Sigma black belt roles and responsibilities. Okay, now let's quickly move on to this. So, what is a Six Sigma? We will be understanding about the lean further. Let's just start learning with the Lean Six Sigma approach. So, Six Sigma is a business philosophy focused on the continuous improvement. So this means improvement is not any one-time activity. We can understand by this, right? It is an ongoing activity. That is how we will achieve the required the number of defects or the DPMO that is there. We will be discussing that. So it is a set of tools and strategies for process improvement. So there are a set of proper tools and proper strategies that is there for the uh, process improvement basically. Next, it seeks to improve the quality of process outputs by identifying and removing. So in this whole process, we improve the quality of the process outputs by identifying and removing any defects, any issues that are there. So that is why it is an ongoing and a continuous improvement. Then uh, how do we achieve that? By minimizing the variabilities that are there in any process like manufacturing or any business processes. Then Six Sigma defect is defined as anything outside the original customer specification. So anything that any defect, so Six Sigma defect is basically identified, which is anything outside the customer's specification. Now, how do we achieve Six Sigma level? So to achieve the Six Sigma level, a process must not produce more than 3.4 defects per million opportunity. That is DPMO, we also call that, um, which is 99.99966% of the products that are manufactured are statistically expected to be defect free. So, um, to reach a Six Sigma level, a process must produce no more than 3.5 defect per million opportunities. That is only when we will be able to reach that level, which means it should have this defect free performance 99.999 and 66% defect free performances. So this level of quality basically forces the organization to design a robust process. So when we will have this level of quality, so organizations are usually, we can say that organizations are having a robust processes for the quality, and they focus on prevention and not correction. So this is how they will achieve this Six Sigma level. Okay. This was about the basics of Six Sigma, the philosophy it works on. Then moving on to the Six Sigma roles and responsibilities. So these are the roles that are there in a Six Sigma, any project, any so if it is a black belt project, then what are the responsibilities of black belt? Then what are the responsibilities of green belt? This is how it is. Now let's see. So the first role is about the sponsor. And what is the so there is a sponsor of the project. If it is a Lean Six Sigma project, there is a sponsor of that. What are the responsibilities? Any senior executive who sponsors the Six Sigma initiative. That is basically the sponsor of that. Then champion is the next role. So this is a mid-level executive role. Uh, so this role provides the resources. So the sponsor is someone who takes care of the financial perspective and who sponsors the whole initiative of Six Sigma. Then champion is someone who provides the resources, like how many resources are required. So that is the role of the champion we call. And also they resolves any cross-functional issues. So there are different processes or different teams involved in any project, in any of such projects. So the champion, the roles and responsibility of the champion is to resolve in case there are any issues cross-functionally or maybe internally in a team. So this is the responsibility of the champion. So it is very important to uh, align these responsibilities with the roles before we start the project only. Then master black belt. So master black belt is a black belt with several Six Sigma project experience becomes a master black belt. So any black belt who has a lot of experience in different type of projects of Six Sigma, they becomes the master black belt. The coaches, mentors, and they also train the black belts. So that is how they become the master black belt. And then black belt. So black belt is a full-time professional. Any professional who has this certification of Lean Six Sigma black belt, and the role and the responsibility is they lead large Six Sigma projects. So this is the responsibility of the black belt. Now, here we can see the difference also between the black belt and the green belt. So green belt can be a part-time professional and they lead smaller Six Sigma projects. So there are different types, like you guys have told me that there are some bigger projects that you guys are working on. So that is where the black belt comes into the picture, and that is where it is important to have the black belt certification, and then master black belt after that once the experiences are there. Similarly, green belt is for leading the smaller Six Sigma projects. That might be any like any internal projects related to quality and improvement. So that is there. Then after these roles, there comes the team member. So there are like the roles and responsibilities for particular team members should be assigned properly before starting, so that later it doesn't create any issue or it doesn't create any maybe miscommunication or anything. So that is where team members roles are there. Now, what are the responsibilities? So they bring relevant experience to a particular Six Sigma projects. So team members are chosen basis on their relevant experience and skills that they might contribute with in the particular Six Sigma project. So this is the responsibilities of team member, then process owner. Now, what do we mean by that? Process owner is someone who professional, responsible, and accountable for the business process that has been improved in the Six Sigma project. So they are called as process owner, someone who is professional, responsible, and accountable for the business process which we are working on, the basic the project for which we are working on. So these are the main roles that are there. Sponsor. Yeah, do you have a question?
Yes, my question would be that just if we take like a scenario from like real life, that I'm just thinking that if I'm a process owner and I'm responsible and accountable for that process, then I'm responsible and accountable for continuously improving that process. So how then this project kicks off, that I'm a process owner and I feel that the process is not working well, which is my accountability, and I ask help, for example, from a green belt or a black belt to fix it because it's not working, or so for me the process, so I understand all of them. It's just in my mind the process owner is someone who is like responsible and accountable for continuously improve that process. So then if something goes very, very wrong with that process and we need a Six Sigma project to fix that process, then what the process owner is doing?
Yeah. So, see, we have different roles here. So, process owner is overall responsible for these, responsible and accountable for these. But if maybe, for example, maybe some other expertise are required in this, and process owner are not supposed to have everything, like expertise in everything. So, in that case, they will consult the other team members who are expert in that, who brings the relevant experiences. So the overall responsibility is of a process owner, but they can reach out to the other team members or to the maybe a green belt or black belt accordingly the issue. So if there is like some big blunder that happens in the project, and so the accountability will go to the process owner, because they are supposed to have a check on these things that nothing should go wrong. But if it happens, so accountability will be of the process owner. But when it comes to resolve the issue, they can take help of other team members, and they can go and take help from the green belt, or maybe if there are experienced black belts in the team. So that is when uh, that is how we differentiate the roles. So I hope it is clear now that how it differentiates. The process owner will be accountable for the blunder or anything if any big problem happens. But in order to resolve the issue, they will take help from the other team members who have particular expertise. So suppose if it is a blunder related to any particular team, like anything in quality, anything any data or any data related thing. So there should be proper professionals in the team who has expertise in that field, so that the process owner can take help from that. So this is how the roles are interconnected also. Uh, like uh, like we define the roles, and then these roles are of course interconnected, that the team members will might be reaching out to the green belt for the help, then the process owner might be reaching out to the other person. So that is how it is planned in a Six Sigma environment. So I hope this answers your doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Anything else would we like to discuss in this particular roles and responsibilities? Or is it clear? Like we are clear with the responsibilities, we are clear that these are interconnected, these how and when we use these. So are we good to go? All right. Now let's talk about the Lean Six Sigma black belt. So these are the black belts are the official team leaders of any enterprise-wide Six Sigma based improvement projects. So these are the official team leaders. Okay. Black belts from the main interface and communication channel between top management, master black belts and Six Sigma teams. So black belts are the one who form the main interface face and communication channel. So this is a big responsibility that anyone who is doing or who is working for the certification should understand, that this forms the main interface and the communication channel between the top management, between the master black belts or Six Sigma teams that are there. Then Lean Six Sigma black belts are experienced with the advanced statistical tool, know-how, and can mentor the Six Sigma green belts in using the right set of tools for completing a Six Sigma and Lean project successfully. So the black belts Lean Six Sigma should be aware of the advanced statistical tools, and they can also then as we have seen here, that they also work as a coach and mentor to train the other green belts professionals. Yeah. Do we have any question?
Yes. More in general. Yeah. I'm listening careful. I'm making notes to myself. At some point, will you tell us about, the exam, maybe, so that we get a flavor what kind of questions will be asked for? For example, would there be a question like, what is the expected financial benefit a black belt should bring? And we need to know it's more than 200,000, so that we get a flavor on which detail we need
Yeah.
to know.
Okay, sure. I mean, that's a good point. So, we do not have this covered under this content of material, but yeah, we can definitely have a look at the examination format and what type of questions we might get in the examination. Though in this training material, we will be having some quizzes. So once we finish one particular lesson of the section, we will have some quiz questions related to that. But in from the examination point of view, I will definitely work on that, and I will maybe after the break, maybe I'll show you like how this is from the examination point of view. So yeah, thanks for raising this thing. Since right now we will be covering whatever is there in the training material and content. So after that, maybe we can have a look of the some examples of questions
Yeah.
that related to the certification exam as well. So that we can do, and also we will like to make this more interactive. We will be having quizzes. I will also plan some case studies related to Lean Six Sigma so that we can have a real time understanding of how these things work in a real time scenario in a like a case study way. So I'll try and plan that as well for you. So if there's anything additional that you might require, you can just let me know.
Yeah,
So,
just a quick
yes.
question. So when this exam is expected, so when we need to do this exam?
Um, so that I need to confirm with my team. So see, I am like trainer for this, so maybe the examination team would be telling me that. So if you are not aware about the examination date, then just allow me some time. I need to confirm that with my team. So I
It
mean,
would be great to know that, how much time we have to learn all of this, and, how the exam will look like. Is it just that you need to
Mhm.
select from 4 answers, or you need to also calculate, or, like
Yeah.
what is, how it looks like, and do we need to do any black belt project and submit it, or it's just, the exam? So it would be
Yeah.
nice to understand that,
So
how it will look
yeah,
like
that
and
would
when
be
it will happen.
examination only. Yeah, that would be examination. Yeah, I will definitely, what I will do is I will prepare a examination format for you, like how many questions maybe that you might be getting and what
Yes,
type of questions that you might be getting there. So that will make
exactly.
it clear for you.
Okay.
But your question was about the examination date, right?
Both. So, like, how it will look like, the date, what we need to prepare, how much time we have to prepare. So,
Okay, okay, I got your point. Okay. So, yeah, we will be discussing about the examination format. So that will basically covers all your things that you need to understand. The timing, the type of questions, the examples of questions, and then we will be having our own like quizzes, and I'll be planning some case studies also related to that. So that will give you a fair idea that how would it look in the examination. The real examination that is there. So yeah, that is something that we can plan and do. So yeah, for now, I think we should move on with the training material that we have with ourselves. So yeah, uh, as we know that we have discussed that Lean Six Sigma black belts are the experienced with the advanced statistical tools. We will be understanding these tools and everything in our upcoming sessions. So don't worry, since this is just day one, I would like to cover the basics and the theoretical part more. And then as we move on towards the sessions, we will be learning about the whole concept of this. Also, Lean Six Sigma black belts are expected to complete large scale enterprise wide projects. As we know, any large scale projects which results in aggregate financial benefits, it should be at least the benefit should be at least uh, uh, 2 lakh dollars, which is $200,000 yearly to the organization as the tangible benefits. So that is when Lean Six Sigma black belts are required, and this is what is expected out of these uh, professionals of Lean Six Sigma black belt. Also, Lean Six Sigma black belts are full-time roles. Then the roles and responsibilities as we have discussed. So ensure champions and sponsors, as we have seen previously, they scoped objective is translated to one or more full scale Lean Six Sigma project. So the objective, the scope that they prepared, the champions and the sponsors, that converts into a full scale Lean Six Sigma project. Then validate and set up necessary measurement systems. There should be proper KPIs that needs to be followed. There should be proper measurement systems that how the progress is going on. Um, then provide technical expertise to green belts whenever needed. That is also a role of a black belt, as we have discussed. Also, training the green belts, providing the expertise to the green belts. These Lean Six Sigma black belt professionals liaise with the top management. So, if there is anything that comes into their notice related to team and maybe top management are not aware of it, so they will be communicating that with this. Also, for them, it is important to ensure that the communication is maintained in a typical Lean Six Sigma top to down approach. So, if there is anything, it should be starting from the top, like it should be communicated to starting from the sponsors, the champions. So, communication plays an important role in this. So, whenever there is anything that needs to be communicated to, it should be communicated to all the interested parties. And also their role includes conducting the Six Sigma toll gate review meetings with the top management. So there should be timely review meetings with the top management regarding the project updates, what is going on in the project, how is it going on, what are the issues that is being faced. Then this is also their role to close the project successfully. And then reporting part, so communication and reporting part on a regular basis, the status and progress of all the projects, that is also there. So they have to or not only communicate it to the top management, top to down approach, reporting is also important in that. On project closure, work with finance team and document project results and share success stories across the organization. So this is from this very starting of the project till the end, till the closure of the project. These are what Lean Six Sigma Black Belt roles and responsibilities are.
Just a quick question from my side. So finance is engaged at the end only, or at the beginning when you are setting up the KPIs, or even maybe like an expected benefit or forecasted benefit or anything, then are they involved at that stage as well, or only at the end?
Yeah, so finance part is though it is the sponsor who does that, who takes care at the starting of this. So I'll quickly show you here. So a sponsor is someone who sponsors the initiative, but this is also a role of and responsibility of black belt to discuss that with the sponsor at the starting of it, the financial part also at the starting of the project only. So this is their responsibility as well. When we talk about the communication and when we talk about the maintaining the objectives, so that part comes into that only. So champions and sponsors scope the objective, which then translates to, if you see this one, full Lean Six Sigma projects. So this is the role of a Lean Six Sigma black belt professional to ensure that everything is done at this step by the sponsors, the financial part of it as well included in this. And then at the end of also, they work with the finance team. And then the project results, they share the success stories across the organizations. So this is basically the whole idea of roles and responsibilities that are there for any Lean Six Sigma black belt.
Okay, finance only at the beginning, at the end. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so we're done with this first lesson of this. Let's have a quick summary what we have discussed in this. The overview of Six Sigma, what it means in terms of defects and quality. We have seen that it should have 3.4 million DPMO. Then Six Sigma as a business philosophy, we have seen. Then we have discussed the key roles in Six Sigma in any organization. Then Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, types of projects, uh, what type of projects that are there. Then roles and responsibility of a Lean Six Sigma Black Belt professionals. That is what we have discussed in this lesson. Now, second topic that we will be discussing about, now that we are done with understanding the basics of Lean Six Sigma, we will be discussing about the organizational roadblocks. So, what are the roadblocks that are there in the Lean Six Sigma that uh, a Lean Six Sigma black belt professional might face? What are the organizational roadblocks? Let's quickly have a look of the agenda. So, in this, traditional organizations versus customer-driven organizations. So, we will be discussing the traditional organizations, like short-term versus long-term focus, then reactionary or preventive management. Also, we will be discussing the ROI versus the CSAT, and then defect correction versus the defect prevention. Then types of the organizational roadblocks. How many types are there? What are the roadblocks types? Then change resistance curve, the common resistance points that are there, and how do we overcome those resistant points? Then force field analysis. So this lesson will be covering these things related to organizational roadblocks. Now let's have a look at traditional organization versus the customer driven organization. So what happens in traditional organization? Product and planning, performance measurement, attitude to the customers, process management, how it is in the traditional organization. So in traditional organization, they have a short term focus, while in customer driven organizations there is a long term focus. Similarly, there are reactionary management, but in customer driven organizations there are preventive management. So these things are important to understand from the perspective of a Lean Six Sigma black belt. Then, in performance measure point of view, there is quick ROI in traditional organizations. In performance measure in the customer driven organizations, it is based on CSAT, which is related to which is focusing on the customer side more and not looking at the quick ROI. Attitude to the customers. So in traditional organizations, customers are hostile, customers are bottlenecks, while in any customer driven organizations, customers are the king. They are treated as the king, and customers need to be respected. That is the attitude towards the customer. Then process management. It is in the traditional organization, error and defect reduction is there, while in customer driven organization, error and defect prevention. So customer driven organizations focuses on the prevention of it more than only the help of reduction. So they try and prevent it before any error or any defect occurs. The customer driven organizations prevent that, while the traditional organizations try to reduce the error and defect after it occurs maybe. So that is the basic differences. Now let's move on to the types of roadblocks. So what are the types of roadblocks? So let's see each one here. First is Lean Six Sigma is a fad. So now, by who it is, when and why, then how to deal with that. So by who? So it is expressed by the top leadership. That Lean Six Sigma is a fad. Now when and why? So after hearing the preliminary things about the Lean Six Sigma, that is when it is said that it is a fad. Then how to deal with this? When these type of organizational roadblocks comes, then how do we deal with this? By showing them the benefits of Lean Six Sigma, by implementing a small scale pilot project or suggesting an implementation. So when now we can just see from top to bottom, when any top leadership expressed this thing that Lean Six Sigma is a fad, when do we do that and how can we deal with it? Then the next thing, the next organizational roadblock can be that it is too statistical. Now, who expresses this? This is expressed by the maybe the top leadership or maybe the employees. So when and why? After learning the Lean Six Sigma is statistical approach. So in our upcoming sessions, we will also be doing the statistical approach and statistical tool learning. So maybe that can be an organizational roadblock sometimes that they think it is too statistical. Now, how can we deal with this? So black belts can help them overcome this resistance by explaining one or two statistical tools in this case. So when maybe employee feels that this is too statistical, maybe because they do not have the experience or knowledge about it, that is when the black belts can help with them, help them to overcome this resistance and telling them like how to deal with this. So they can explain them maybe a couple of statistical tools. So these are the two organizational roadblocks. Then next is why should one change? This is also a most often uh, roadblock that we get, that why should we change? So most of these are expressed by the top leadership and some are expressed by the employees as well. So when and why this happens? So this happens after hearing that Lean Six Sigma enforce a cultural change. So whenever there is any Lean Six Sigma project, there is a cultural change that happens within the organization because it is not about only the statistical part, it changes from the basics of the process or of the organization as well. So that is when they feel that why should one change? Now, how a Lean Six Sigma black belt should deal with it? By explaining them, the change is imperative. It helps in keeping an organization competitive in the market. So that is the thing that why organization should look for the continuous improvement, which leads them to the change also. Because when there is improvement, when that is when the things are changing, right? Then next is maybe employee non-cooperation. So if there are some employee who are not cooperative and the Lean Six Sigma black belt professional sees that. So when this happens, when employee enjoy being in a comfort zone, and then in this situation, how can a black belt professional deal with it? By changing the competitiveness to the organization can be ensured along with the upgrading their skills. So when you see that people are like enjoying their comfort zones and they are like not cooperating towards the projects, so that is when it is important to upskills the employee as well. So that is how you can deal with these situations. That is here, mentioned here also, same thing. Similarly, there are other roadblocks as well, like wrong team members, or maybe there are some fear of measurement since it is like too statistical it becomes at times. So there can be situations where it becomes like too maybe a lot of mathematics which people are not like very friendly of, or maybe a lot of too statistical things. These are also some roadblocks. So this can also be how we can deal with this. We can build trust in the employees that they would not be penalized for the past mistakes. We can encourage them to move ahead philosophy and ensure employees are involved in designing and setting up the new processes. So the starting point is to communicate and ensure employees are convinced not to resist the change. This is one thing that needs to be ensured. And how can a black belt, like, what is the role of a black belt in overcoming these resistance, these roadblocks that we have discussed? I think these are clear. Maybe wrong team members that we have discussed. Similarly, when this happens, why this happens, and how can we deal with it? These are some common roadblocks. So when there is wrong team members, how can we deal with it? Choose team members on different skill sets. So that is why it is important. And this was the role. If we just have a look at this role, so we have seen here the team members. So it is very important to bring relevant experiences and different skill sets, like the various skill sets should be there. That is how we can come over these roadblocks that are there. So, how do we choose the team members? We choose the team members based on these four main factors. What are the factors? Capability, their creativity, willingness, and ability. So, while choosing the team members for any Lean Six Sigma Black Belt project or any Six Sigma project, these are the four factors that we should have in mind. They're the capabilities of the employee, maybe their experiences, creativity of the team member that we are choosing, like how creatively they can work on things. Maybe if they can think out of something which is not mentioned or which is not told already. That is what we mean by that. And their willingness to work on it plays a very important role, and ability as well. What is their ability? Maybe they have different skill sets. So this is how we can deal with such situations. Similarly, fear of measurements, as we have discussed, like it is also expressed by the employees at times, the team members that are there. How can we deal with it? Let's see when this happens and why this happens. So as things get measured, people become reluctant. They fear that their performance will get measured, which might involve any scrutiny. They fear that it will be, impacting their performance reviews. And then how do we deal with it? How black belt professionals should deal with this? By provide confidence to the employees that the measurement will only be used to improve the process. So this is how they can come over this particular organizational roadblock. And then the data will never be used for performance reviews. This is also, they should make clear to them. That is when employees will understand that what is basically the goal of the measurements. Then the last organizational roadblocks that are there is fear of job elimination. This is also observed by the team members again. As the things approve, less people will be needed to get the work done, and as a result of people may lose job. This is what they think. Now, how can we deal with this situation? We provide them confidence that the improvements will lead to doing more with the less. Improvements will lead to better quality, lower cost, and higher profit. That will help people to have jobs even in tough times. So, this is some common organizational roadblocks that are raised by the top management or team members while planning any Six Sigma project. So, what is the role of black belt in dealing or in overcoming these resistance that we have discussed? The transparent communication. So, communication should be clear, as we have discussed, from the top management to all the employees. Then, incentive alignment, like ensuring incentive and reward schemes for projects are identified when planning for the objectives of the project. And that should be communicated to, again, top management, followed by with top management and communicated back to the employees, the incentive. So this is basically uh, the role of black belt in overcoming the organizational blocks that we have just discussed. Then communicate effectively. and ensure transparency among team members, that every team member's roles and responsibility should be properly aligned and properly assigned as well. Then play an important and neutral role in selecting Six Sigma team. So there should be a neutral role, like there should not be any kind of biases or things. So that plays a neutral team selection roles. Then confidence building. By building their confidence, we can overcome these things. Provide confidence that measurements and improvements are for overall organizations good and aligns with broader goal. The data collected will not be used to measure performance. This is also very important to make them understand, because we have seen these type of roadblocks can come at situations like where people where the team members might have fear of job elimination, or because of the things, or where we have once seen one more about the fear of measurements. So that is when we have to tell them, we have to communicate this thing, that data will not be used for appraisal or any performance review or any performance measurement. So this is how a black belt role plays in dealing with the organizational blocks and the resistances that are there. Next thing is change resistance curve. Till now, like what we are discussing are the topics that might be helpful for a Lean Six Sigma black belt. But yeah, as we have discussed, we will definitely be showing some questions and format of the examinations related to that. Maybe after we will have our next break, the long 1 hour break, maybe we'll plan something so that these concepts that we are learning now should get clear, and you will understand more that why these are important to understand. So this is a change resistance curve. So how does this work? Let's see. So organizations are split into these three parts. 15% it should be supportive, 17% neutral, and 15% resistant. So we should focus on the neutral part. Organizations neutral part. So 17% should be neutral. So we don't need to bother about the 15% supportive, as they would support change anyways. Then 15% resistance, as they would resist change anyways. So support and resistant we should not bother about. Spending any time with the resistant population would be a waste. So we should be focusing on the neutral ones, the 17%. Focus on the 17% neutral and get them moving with the change. The resistant minority is the most vocal, opposing any possible change effort. Also, by being vocal, it is able to distract organizations' management. Then, if the management gets distracted, the 70% neutral majority will feel that the management was not serious about the change. So that is why this is important, and we should keep our focus on the neutral part of it. So organizations are split into these three, and we should keep our focuses on the neutral part of it. Now, since we've discussed the resistances, the organizational roadblocks, I'll just take a pause here, and maybe I would like to understand from your point of view if you have faced these type of roadblocks in your any of your projects that you have done, and how you have overcome it. Have you ever faced any of these resistances that we just talk about? Would you like to share anything on that? Yeah, Andreas.
Yeah, that's daily business, I would say, unfortunately. So what we usually do, when one area, one is resistance, we do this then in, one-to-ones, discuss then and to understand why where this resistance is coming from. Is there any fear? The things that you have mentioned before. That we can tackle, but it takes a lot of time and eats up energy.
Yeah. Right. So that is why this, like what we have discussed, like how can we overcome, like how to deal with these things that might be helpful when we are like dealing with such situations in any black belt project, for that matter. Similarly, how should we focus on the neutral part of it? Like we should be focusing on the 70% neutral. So that is how it works in real time projects as well. Now let's see the 15% supportive population. As we have seen, the supportive population would always support the change effort. Then, if focusing is on working with the 70% neutral population, they can move to the supportive section. So, we should first focus on the neutral, and then if we focus on working with the neutral population, then they will also start moving towards the supportive population. Now, the 15% resistant population is an absolute minority with no possibility of neutral folks joining them. So that is how we manage the percentage basically. That is how we shifted the 17% neutral population to the supportive population. And then when 85% of the people are embracing the change and benefits are seen, then the 15%, the resistant population will slowly start moving towards the supportive zone. So that is how we should properly plan this curve, like how we are focusing, when we are focusing to these population, and how much we are uh, focusing on this particular percentage, how much we are of course focusing on the other particular percentage. So in most cases, the 15% resistant people move over to support the change effort, fearing isolation. This is what happens, how we work from the psychological point of view also, because the 15% population will now think that since the 70% neutral population also moved into the supportive population, so fearing the isolation, they will also like change and move towards supporting the change. That is how we can um, convert all the population into the supportive population. So this is important point to be noticed here, that always work on 70% neutral category to enable them to overcome change resistance. Now, what are some common resistant points? Common resistant points, factors or points showing resistance to change are: first one is the ignore the new process or the change. This is one common resistant point. Also fail to understand. Then also there are points where disagree with the validity of the benefits. Then criticize new sets of tools or applications, delay the implementation. These things are uh, some common resistant points. Now let's see what happens in this one. So in this, the what is the thought process of people? So in this, they ignore the new process and it will fade away. They think like that. And when do they think? This usually happens when teams that are established and have delivered results with the earlier processes. So they tend to think like that. Then fail to understand. What is the thought process here? By expressing their inability to comprehend on a daily basis or a regular basis, make it tough for change efforts to bear fruit. And when this happens, it typically happens with teams that are established already, and that have those who have moderate experience. Teams typically do not do this, as they fear that this might be backfire. So this happens when the teams are that are established. But when there is moderate experience, then they do not usually fall for this. Like they do not think like that. Then next is disagree with the validity of the benefits. So what is there? the thought process is there is by disagreeing, the management can and will rethink on introducing the change. So they tend to disagree in such situations. And when this happens, the benefits, calculations, and projections are not based on standard company practices and norms. So when it is not based on the standard company practices and norm, that is when the disagreement happens. Then criticize new sets of tools or applications. What is the thought process here? By talking about challenges and shortcomings of the new tools and impact on productivity, the management will abandon the new set of tools. This is the thought process. Now, when this happens, the team members have not been involved for identifying the right set of tools and applications for the improvement. So, when the team members are not properly involved in identifying the correct set of tools and applications. Then delay the implementation. This is also a common resistance point. So the thought process in this is delaying implementation, okay, reduces the interest in the change and delays the overall benefit realization. And when this happens, when team members do not want to be vocal about resistance as they fear it may backfire, they adopt this technique of delaying it. That is what team members usually do. So when they are not like very vocal about the resistance, because they might be thinking that might backfire them only, so they tend to delay the implementation. Now, how can we overcome these resistant points? Let's quickly have a look of this. So, the first resistant point, ignore the new process. Now, how can we overcome and what should be our approach? We should be involving few folks while creating new process. So, like there should be when there are few people, then they if they understand the things properly and we communicate it to them properly, then they tend to uh, not ignore the new process basically. So communication also plays an important part in this. Then next resistant point is inaccurate understanding. Now, how can we overcome this? By publishing proper newsletters, check sheets, or maybe one-on-one with the employee, with the team members. Then next resistant point was disagree with the validity. So they tend to disagree. Then how can we overcome this? By use standard measurement and benchmarking technique and involving them in the calculation. So when we involve them in these things, then they will have uh, they will be able to see the things on their own. Like they will be able to um, see like in the calculation and everything when we will be using the standard measurement and the benchmarking technique. So they will tend to not disagree and understanding the process basically. Then the next resistant point was criticizing the tools or applications. So there may be situations where maybe the feedback is like good. So if we work on the feedback, maybe we will get better. So that is why we can overcome this by a proper feedback loop, or maybe weekly reviews should be there. That is how we can overcome this particular resistance point. Then the next is delaying the implementation. So we can overcome that by particularly communicating the need for immediate change and incentivize. So if we communicate the need, if we have the proper timelines of the project set, then this resistance can be overcome. So this is all about the strategies. How can we overcome these resistance points? So we should be making proper strategies so that we will not face any uh, team related issue, any will any agreement or disagreement, these related resistance points. Then next is force field analysis. So these are present state or maybe the desired state that are there. And then these are the forces, uh, the driving forces, and then the restraining forces. So both works together. Like the driving forces are the positive forces for change, while the restraining forces are the obstacles to change. And this is the present state. So we have to work for the driving forces more so that the restraining forces will not affect our desired state of the project. This is force field analysis. So this analysis was conceived by the Kurt Lewin. Uh, what is the thought in this? So an issue is held in balance of interaction of two opposing sets of forces, as we have seen here. It is in balance of two opposing sets of forces, the driving force and the restraining force. Those that seek to promote change and those that seek to maintain status. So one is promoting change for positive forces towards the change, and the next is that who seeks to maintain the status quotient, which is obstacles, the restraining forces. So forces that seek promote change are called the driving forces, and the restraining forces that seek to restrain the change. So what happens when driving force is equals to restraining forces? Then there is no change possible because both are having the same force. So even if driving force is there, but it should not be equal to the restraining forces because then there will not be any change. So if driving force is less than the restraining forces, then of course it is going to be negative and we will be getting undesirable change, right? So suppose if here the driving force is not equal and the restraining forces are more, like the black belt professionals are not able to uh, dr- uh, like explain them or tell the employees or whoever is creating the restraints basically, then of course it will go in negative, the change would be negative, and that would be undesirable. What happens when driving forces are more than the restraining forces? Then we will be able to accomplish the change. That is why it is very important to dra- to increase the driving forces with the help of these uh, uh, things that we discussed, like how to overcome the obstacles, how to overcome the resistant points, and that is when we will be able to accomplish the change that we are working for. Now, steps to do force field analysis. So that is one topic that comes under Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, force field analysis. Now let's see how do we do that. We define the future change. We write the goal or future state, whatever our desirable state, as seen here. Maybe the present state, or in most of the projects, it is a desirable state, what we have to achieve, right? So we define that particular future state. Then we brainstorm the driving forces. For that, what we can do, we can write down factors that are for the change. So brainstorming is required here for the driving forces. For that, we have to write down the factors that are for the changes. Then, similarly, we have to start brainstorming the restraining forces. For that, we have to write down factors that are against the changes. So, first step, we define the change, the future change, we define the goal properly. Then we will start brainstorming. We'll write down the factors for the change. Then we'll start brainstorming for the restraining forces, where we will be writing down the factors that are against the change. We will evaluate the forces, rate the driving and restraining forces on a scale of 1 to 5. So that is how we evaluate this, where 1 is being the weak one and 5 is the strong one. So we will rate the driving and restraining forces. After that, review the rating, check for flexibility in the forces. After evaluating, we will be reviewing the rating, and then basis the evaluation and everything, we strategize and prioritize. Brainstorm with the team on possible counter action plan. That is these are the important steps that how we perform the force field analysis in Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. Now, there are some limitations to this analysis. What are the limitations? So the first one is amount of subjectivity involved in assigning ratings to driving forces. Then concept of force field analysis applicable only in limited settings and is not a universal model. Next is confusion in assigning one off force as a responsible factor. So these are some limitations or possible chances of a bias also. Since this is being done by the Lean Six Sigma black belt professional, maybe they can be, biased also. These are the limitations with which we have to work in this force field analysis. Now, the important point here, force field analysis is one of the first predefined tools that is used by the Lean Six Sigma black belt. So that is the first tool that we have discussed today. Um, which is this is the first predefined tool, basically the force field analysis. Use the tool force field analysis template. Everything is provided in the Word document, or maybe we will be discussing the some examples, or we will be doing like following these steps in an exercise that we will do. So that will help us understand the this whole analysis better. Now, moving before moving forward, like I would just like to understand from your point of view, like have you ever worked on these type of analysis, like force field analysis, or this is something you are learning about the first time?
First time for me.
First time for me.
Okay, so how did you find it? Like, did you understand the steps that we discussed, the limitations that are there, or do you have any of your findings or any point of view from your own about this particular force field analysis?
I think what we used to always do is a stakeholder analysis, just to understand that, who are the stakeholders, who are the supporters, who are against it. And usually I think our tactic is that we use the vocal supporters to convince the ones who are against it. So in the leadership team, if we have strong allies, then, we try to count on them and get your help to support us. And at the end, the not supporter ones, if they see the results, then hopefully they will support us. But it's really interesting that you need to focus on the 70% of the neutrals and just leave
Yeah.
behind those who are really against it. So I think it was really interesting for me. However, it makes sense
Me
just
too.
as a concept. It's really interesting. And yeah, I think with this, as you are just showing that there are some limitations. So all of this subjectivity aspect and stuff like that. So for me, it's more like really when you are at the beginning of your stakeholder analysis and you have assumptions that who will be against it and who not.
Yeah.
So it's more like an assumption base. But yeah, those the 70% neutrals that really resonated with me, that you need to focus on those.
Yeah, and that is how we convert those 70% to the other 15%, and that then the majority becomes the supportive ones, and that is how the other 15% who were the in the negative zone, they will also convert to the positive. So that is how this thing works, and then the force field analysis. So I think we are good to go and move forward. Let's have a look at the summary of this section, what we have discussed. Before that, do you have anything to say, Andreas? Anything that we have discussed till now?
Oh, very useful.
All right, thank you. Okay, so the summary was like this. So we have covered the difference between traditional and customer-driven organizations. We have covered the organizational roadblocks, the resistances. Then we have seen black belt's role in overcoming those roadblocks. So that is very important to understand what is the role of a black belt professional in order to overcome the roadblocks. Then changing the resistance curve. We have seen the change resistance curve how we have to focus on the neutral ones, how we have to convert the neutral ones to the supporting ones. And then we have discussed common resistant points and overcoming them, the resistant points and how can we overcome them. And then we have done the first force field analysis. Step by step we have seen what we have to do in order to do the force field analysis. So this was the summary about this. Moving on to the next one, the third lesson. So we are done with two lessons of section one. The third is about the role of communication and selection criteria in black belt. So selection criteria and communication, as we have been seeing, that it plays an important role starting when we are planning the project, when we are planning the scope and everything. So communication from top management till the team members, everyone, it plays a very important role in that. uh, Maybe we can start with this um, after having a small break, so that you guys have some time and take a small break, maybe have a coffee or something, and then just on. So in this we will be understanding the basic black belt rules summary, and then what are the communication expectations, the black belt selection criteria. These are the things that we will be discussing in this particular lesson. So black belt role summaries. Uh, a black belt's primary role is to help the green belt and Six Sigma teams to deliver successful project. This is the primary role of any black belt professional. Black belt needs to handle obstacles and help the team overcome them. So, as we have seen previously, the kind of organizational roadblocks, the resistances that were there. So, this is a main job of a black belt professional to handle the obstacles and help the team to overcome those obstacles as well. With the help of the tools that we have discussed, the strategies that were there that we have discussed, then black belts extract knowledge from the organization's information warehouse. Then black belt is also considered a full-time change agent. As a change agent, a black belt must be able to think and enable changes in their organization. So black belt is considered as a change agent. So change is a very like a basic part of Six Sigma. So when the project, as the project evolves, the change happens. So that is why the black belt is considered as a full-time change agent. Then, black belt must be trained in the tools, techniques to mentor large improvement projects and have access to the software and hardware resources. So, this is a basic role summary of the black belt professional. Then black belt communication expectations. So, what are the expectations from the black belt communication? So, they must be able to communicate effectively verbally and in written, both. So, communication starting from the at the initial stage of the project till the end. This is an important thing, that they should be able to effectively communicate verbally and in written as well. Similarly, in private and as well as in public, they should be able to communicate. They must be able to proactively work and not reactively work. So, proactively, they should be working. So, wherever there is any issue they see, they should proactively able to understand that and work towards that, and not after the damage happens or after anything, any issue happen, or maybe after a time. So it should not be a reactively process, should be proactively. Then they must be able to work in small meetings. They must be able to work as a participant, especially in some meetings. Also, they must be able to comprehend the top management instructions. So, whatever the instructions, since top management, such as sponsors and champions, would be the top management. So, whatever the instructions coming from them, it can be related to the timelines of the project, it can be related to the financial aspect of the project. So, they should be able to comprehend them. The black belt professional should be able to comprehend these instructions properly. Then they must be able to translate top management expectations and instructions into project goals. This is also about the comprehensive thing. So, what are the expectations of this particular project? What are the top management expectations, and what are their project goals? So, this is usually aligned at the very starting stage of the project only. Starting stage, as such, when the scope is being identified and being made, so the objectives and the goals and the actions at that level only. But a black belt should be able to translate these instructions properly. Then they must send detailed project status and report on weekly or fortnight basis depending on the project requirement. So they are the one point of contact who would be sending the project status report. Then conduct periodic project reviews and tollgate reviews with the executives. So these are the things that how a black belt should communicate. So this is important to set the expectations at the starting only. Then these points will help the black belt perform their role effectively and have a bigger impact on the project. Without these interpersonal skills, a black belt is inefficient in their role. So these are some interpersonal skills that are required in terms of communication and setting expectations. Now, black belt selection criteria. So once we're done with the communication part, let's see the selection criteria. Black belts should be selected based on the weight grading on factors. These are the factors that should be considered while selecting. Overcoming obstacles, so that is the most important thing that we have discussed. So 34% goes to the overcoming obstacles criteria, the weightage. Then attitude, 26%. How is their attitude? The behavioral aspects basically. Um, how are they taking all the changes that are happening? How are they able to manage the other team members, manage the situations that are there? Yes, Andreas, you have raised your hand. You have something to say?
Yeah, when I look at this overcoming obstacles, attitude, communication skills, it is for me all in one direction. This whole change management. If you are not having the right attitude, you cannot overcome those obstacles if you communicate those not right. So I think this really sums it up really well. It's very few about interpreting the data, kind of thing. It's this being the
Yeah,
change lead, of it. Yeah.
correct. Correct. So this shows that how much more importance is being given to the interpersonal or attitude or maybe overcoming the obstacles. These are the main skills for a black belt professional basically. Though some weight is also there for the mathematical skills like 5%. So that skills also should be there in a black belt, but these are the main weightage is more towards these ones. So this is basically, yeah, correct. You are right here that it sums up this up basically. Um, so the most thing, like the most weightage, the overcoming the obstacles, the attitude, the logical thought process, which has a 13% of weightage. So this is very important to consider these weightages. Like we should evaluate a person properly and then only give them the responsibilities, whether they are able to take it, whether they are selected. Like this is basically the selection criteria. If they are able to perform these things as per the weightage criteria, then uh, they can be the black belts. This is how it is basically um being selected, the black belts. So for this, the black belt, a degree in mathematics is not a mandatory requirement, since this is a the mathematics skills are very basic, like 5% of the weightage criteria. But at the same time, it is expected that they can understand the statistics and get trained in the statistical softwares like Minitab and have good analytical skills as well. So a proper degree is not required, but statistical knowledge is required for a black belt. So with this, we are done with the communication part and the overview of the black belt role, the expectations from the black belt on communication, and their selection criteria. So are these things clear to you guys? Like, do we have anything to discuss in this, or we are clear on the overview of the role, on the communication expectations, and the selection criteria?
Oh, good.
Okay, okay, great. So, see, these are see right now we are only covering the topics that are the part of the course. So once we are done with that, maybe after today's session, I will be sharing the examination format with you, and maybe I'll be discussing with my team and the examination date as you have discussed. So I'm not quite aware of the date and things like that. So since I am here from the like a trainer's perspective only, so yeah, I'll get a confirmation on that as well. And then when we see some real life questions that we get in the examination related to these things, then maybe these things will make more sense and you will be able to apply the things that we are learning. And as we move on, it will get more clearer, I believe. So with this, we finish this particular lesson 3, which was section 1, lesson 3. Now moving on to the lesson 4, which is about the overview of continuous improvement. Let's have a look at the agenda. What are we going to learn in this? So continuous improvement. So Six Sigma is all about the continuous improvements. So in this, we will be learning about the continual improvement process. We will be discussing about the continuous versus the continual improvement, like what are the differences there in these two terms. Then we will be discussing about the Kaizen. So before moving forward, like are you guys already aware of these processes, or maybe if you have used it or you are using it? I just want to understand your level of understanding of these things, how much you use it in your daily work, maybe in your day-to-day life in work.
Our area is responsible for it and for the company, so we are driving the standards. We've implemented a training about this. I'm very curious about the second bullet point because I thought it is the same, it's just a different terminology. And we want to implement more of Kaizen through changing our approaches to it, because it's one thing to talk about it, but how to get it real is a different thing. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So since right now we are doing the theoretical part, we will be discussing about how these things works on uh, and then after that, when we are done with the theoretical part, maybe we will see some scenarios or based questions. We will have some case studies related to that, where we will apply these things in how does it work in the real life scenario, in real cases. So that is when it will get more clearer and you will maybe have a better understanding of this. But just for now, let's have a look at on the basics, like on the theoretical basis of this. So I think we are good to go, and to start with the continual improvement process, or CIP, also known as CIP. So this is a steady effort made to improve existing processes, products, or services. That's a steady effort. Uh, Delivery processes are evaluated against efficiency, effectiveness, and flexibility. Then, as the William Edwards Deming quote is mentioned here, CIP is a part of the system, or the continual improvement process is a part of the system where feedback from the process and the customers are evaluated against the organizational goal. So this how does this work? How it is a continual improvement? So it works on the feedback from the process, and the customers are evaluated against the goals. So when we are having, so this is like a loop. We are going in this loop. We are having these feedbacks about the process and the customers that we evaluate against the goals of the organizations, the objectives of the organizations, basically. That is how it is a continual improvement. So principle of CIP is feedback. So continual improvement process will work on feedback. So that is the basic principle of this. Then purpose of CIP is to identify, reduce, and eliminate the optimal processes. This is their so this is their purpose, basically, to identify, reduce, and eliminate the optimal processes. Now, emphasis of CIP is to take gradual and incremental steps. So, we emphasize this in CIP to take the incremental steps as well as the gradual steps. Now, let's have a look at the continuous versus the continual improvement. So the word continuous should be used when events happen continuously at a regular intervals. That is when we use the word continuous. And the word continual should be used when the events happen in a continuous fashion in a discrete jumps. So it is not at a regular interval, but in the continual process, it's on a discrete jumps. So by convention, usage of the word continuous improvement is more popular, but it is called the continual improvement. So experts and business through though have started to use the word continual improvement. So if you see, we are also using here the word continual improvement because this is what happens in the Lean Six Sigma, the continual improvement. So, since continuous improvement is like when events are happening continuously at the particular regular intervals. So this is the basic difference between them. So when do we use these words? Use the term continual improvement. Yeah, Andreas.
I did not get it. So what is the difference between continual and continuous? I really do not get it. Can you say it in other words, please?
Yeah. So see, continuous. If we talk about continuous improvement. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So if we talk about the word continuous improvement, sometimes this is also called the continual improvement, like we have been
Yeah.
interchangingly using these words. But continuous improvement is the ongoing improvement of of the product, services, or process through the incremental and breakthrough operations, basically. So it happens, as it is mentioned here, that it happens continuously at the regular intervals. But so in this, the intervals are regular, like properly on like at this time. So the intervals that are there is regular in the continuous improvement. While in the continual improvement, if we see, it also happens continuously in a continuous fashion, but it happens in the discrete jump. So there is no regular intervals in the continual improvement. So this is the basic difference. I mean, the difference is like a very thin line, but we should be using the continual improvement in terms of Lean Six Sigma. So there is not a regular intervals in the continual improvement, but there can be a discrete jump also. So when it is happening, when the improvement is happening, maybe there is a discrete jump at any step. So it is not that it will happen regularly on some particular timeline or like that. So that is what the basic difference that we understand by that.
I always want to convert it to something concrete. For me, what a
Mm-hmm.
process owner does is for me absolutely then continuous improvement, because they should always look at their processes regular, right? But when we have
Mm-hmm.
like a black belt project, that comes new into play, that sounds for me then more like continual improvement. So a new project that is then is done, or a green belt project. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what it is. If there is any new project, so we continuously we improve that project. We work towards the feedback. We works on the any feedback that we received, and then that is how the change happens. But it is not certain that the improvement will happen at this particular time. So there is no like particular time we have, like it should be not on any regular intervals. So it can be a discrete jump, as the keyword mentions here. It can be maybe one day we change something very discreetly, a big change, or maybe the other time maybe it is not that much, maybe the change is little comparatively. So this is basically how we compare, like it is not at the regular intervals. That is why we call it continual improvement. But yeah, these terms are mostly used interchangeably, like people have been using it interchangeably, the continuous and continual. From that perspective, it is okay to use, but we must understand the thin line that is there. So if it is a continuous improvement, then it happens at the regular intervals, right? Yes, Sophia.
Maybe for the continuous, it can be a good example when there are these waves and the teams are going to the next maturity level, because it's in a regular interval for me that they are always like doing more and more, and they would like to reach like the next maturity steps and the next maturity steps. It's like more regular to me. And then the discrete jumps is, yeah, when there is like a project and then that project will improve something. Is it correct if I think about it
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that?
So that is quite correct, because so what happens in meet, like there are meet that is a planned interval, that the change will happen on these regular basis
Mm.
whenever the meetings will happen. So that is a continuous. So yes, you have given a good example on that way. But in terms of Lean Six Sigma, when we talk about that, so in Lean Six Sigma projects, what we have, or what we face, is the continual improvement. What we do is the continual improvement and not the continuous, because there is no defined timelines for that. Like there is no defined timeline that at this timeline the regular interval will happen. So as here it is mentioned also, that the term continual improvement is used for the processes, while continuous improvement can be used for the data trends, because in data trends we have a we can basically see that where the changes are happening in terms of data. So in processes, it is not a regular, it is not happening at a regular interval basis. So this is when we use the term continual improvement and when we use the term continuous improvement. But from Lean Six Sigma perspective, when we use the term CIP, it means the continual improvement process, which happens in the at not any like irregular intervals as well. So that can be a continual improvement. And then, yeah, this is a point, important point that we should keep in mind, that it is the continual improvement is used for the processes, and the continuous improvement is used for the data trends. Because there we can see that what improvement is happening with the help of the data. We will have the data as a reference for us. So I hope it is little clear now, the continuous and continual. Or maybe what you guys can do, maybe you can think yourself of some examples, like Sophia has given a good example of the meetings that happens the regular intervals. Maybe you can think some of the examples, or if you want me to like dive deep into this, we can discuss more about it. But from examination point of view, I think understanding this much would be fine, and as per the training material that we have. But if there is anything, if you have doubt on, we can definitely maybe have some like time assigned to discuss that particular thing and topic. Are we good to move on? All right. So next is the Kaizen. Uh, So Kaizen, what do we mean by the Kaizen basically? It is the continual improvement thing that we have been discussing. So most successful implementations use Kaizen as their base approach for the continual improvement. What do we understand by the Kaizen is change for the better. And this change happens as the at the continuous basis, like though it is not like any particular regular basis, like at this time the change needs to happen, but we should always strive towards the change. So that is what we understand by Kaizen. The cycle of Kaizen activities is also known as the PDCA or Deming cycle. So there's the cycle of Kaizen activities, which is known as the Deming cycle. It was first mentioned by the Dr. Williams Edwards Deming. That's why it is known as the like widely known as the Deming cycle. One Kaizen variant is Kaizen Blitz or Kaizen Burst. So these are some Kaizen variants. So what Kaizen Blitz does? So Kaizen Blitz basically emphasizes on rapid or breakthrough improvement, and it is a focused activity on a particular process. There's this example given to understand it better. So the example says McDonald's inscribing the temperature regulations on their water carrying glasses. This is the example of Kaizen Blitz. So what is happening here? Kaizen Blitz, it is emphasizing on the rapid and breakthrough improvement, and it is a focused activity on the particularly process, which is about the temperature regulations on the water carrying glasses. Then Masaki Imai made the term Kaizen famous in the book. So there is this book, Kaizen, the key to Japan's competitive success. This is the basics what we need to understand for the Kaizens. Then the elements of Kaizen, and then we will see the Kaizen cycle. So these are the 5 elements of Kaizen. Teamwork comes into the picture, then personal discipline is there, improve morale, quality circles, suggestions for improvement. These are the main 5 elements. And you see, starting from the teamwork and the suggestions for improvement, which is as a feedback that we get maybe at the end of any process, at the end of any project, the feedback that we get, with the help of that feedback, we start the Kaizen process. So that is an important element of Kaizen. Similarly, there is personal discipline. Maybe when we can do some questions, or maybe some we can do some exercises on this, then we can understand this in better. Like how do we apply this in any project, the Kaizen. So these are the main elements that are there. Then the Kaizen cycle, if we talk about. So the Kaizen cycle, what is that? The standardize the operation and activities, and then it measure the operations. Then it compare measurement to the requirements. So whatever we have measured, it compares it to the requirements. Then it innovate to meet the requirements and increase the productivity. And also the last point is the standardize new operations and continue the cycle ad infinitum. So this cycle will go on, will keep on happening. So starting from the standardize the operations and the activities. So this is the first thing that happens in the Kaizen cycle. We first standardize the process, the activities that needs to be there, and the operations. After that, we measure the operations. Then comes to the whatever we have measured, we compare that to the requirements. So whatever are the requirements of the project or the goal, we compare the measurements to that and we analyze that. Basis on that, we innovate to meet the requirements. So whatever the requirements, if suppose our measurement or our analysis is not giving the desired result, then we try to innovate in Kaizen. and also increase the productivity. And then similarly, we standardize new operations and we continue this Kaizen cycle. So these are the main topics that we discussed on Kaizen, like the basics of Kaizen, then the elements that are there in Kaizen, and then the Kaizen cycle. Maybe with the help of an example, if you guys would like to tell me, maybe if any you have worked on any such project, or maybe you can give me an example where you have uh, used these Kaizen the terminology that we have. Would you like to share anything, any of you? Have you used Kaizen in any of your
So
like
we have
projects?
used the PDCA cycle before we moved to the DMAIC. So I think we used it for like easier, quicker projects, so which are not that complex. We used the PDCA for a couple of projects before, but I'm not pretty sure that we used it correctly at those time based on what you just said. How I understood it, and just to reflect back how I understood it, that it's basically is coming from type of idea portals or people ideas or like quick improvement ideas. And then it's really great because then it's coming from a teamwork or like their experience, so the hand-on experience of guys who are working on stuff and have like a good idea that can be like quickly improved and can make an incremental change. And then it really improves then the morale because it comes from the people, from the ground. And it's something like that goes on and on, right? So it's like you do the plan, do, check, act, and then you plan something new, and then plan, do, check, act, and then plan something new. So it's like as you are working on it, then you always see things which can be better, and it's like something continuous, if I understood correctly. So like you are doing it in cycles again and again and again. I think I don't know where I read that maybe in Toyota that people had like a paper and then they could, like they were standing next to the factory stuff and had the car start going, and they had the paper and they could write down their ideas. And at the end of the day, they could discuss their ideas, and maybe they picked one or two and they made like a quick improvement. So if I interpret it correctly, then this is how I understand.
Yeah. So you understood it correctly, the elements of it, and then this is a continual improvement. Kaizen is basically the continual improvement. So yeah, this is like an ongoing process which goes like continue the cycle, as you see. After standardizing the new operations and continue the cycle ad infinitum. So this goes on. And when it goes on, then only we will achieve the like we will be able to achieve the desirable results, the desirable goals that are there. And in this process, we will innovate also. We do the measurement and things like that. We standardize the process first, and that is how it goes on. So yeah, your understanding is quite correct on that part. Now that we are done with the continual improvement process, and continuous versus the continual improvement, then the Kaizen approach for the continual improvement. What is the approach that we follow? We are done with this particular lesson, which was about the basically the overview of the continuous improvement. So what comes under that? The process, the difference, and the Kaizen. Kaizen is the base which uses this continual improvement basically. Now, next lesson for this is the lean. Now, since this is about Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, it is important to understand the lean. So Previously, we have learned about the Six Sigma procedures. Now coming to the lean, let's see what is there. So starting from it, what is lean? We will be understanding. We will be understanding a little bit history about the lean, from where it started, how it started, and the principles of lean. What are the main principles that are there for lean? What are the key benefits of implementing lean? If we implement the lean Six Sigma process, and if we implement the lean process into that, then how it is beneficial, then why lean before the Six Sigma? So why do we use that before the Six Sigma? This is what we are going to understand in this lesson basically. Now let's quickly start with that. What is lean, first of all? So, lean is a principle of eliminating the waste and reducing the non-value added. So, with the help of lean, we will first of all eliminate if there are any waste or any steps or any activities which are not adding the value to the process. That is why it and how it helps in Six Sigma also, because eliminating the waste is an important part in such projects, and only then we will be able to find the like we will be able to achieve the desirable output that we are looking for. So what is waste now? Waste is anything unnecessary for the process. Um, then non-value adding activity is any activity the customer is not willing to pay for, or the one that doesn't add value to the project. These are the two main things, waste and the non-value adding activity. Then lean helps in increasing the speed of the product manufacturing process also. So lean helps in increasing. So of course, when we eliminate the waste and the non-value added activities, of course, we will not have to deal with those things which are not adding to the value. We will be directly we can focus on our project and our goals. That is how lean helps in increasing the speed of the project and the process. Let's have a quick look at the history of lean. So that is also important from examination point of view as well. You should know a little bit about the history of lean. So in starting from the chronological order, in 1911, Frederick Winslow Taylor, who is called a father of scientific management, introduces the concept of the standardization. So that is from where the lean has started. Then in 1922, Henry Ford spoke about the waste reduction as a key principle of improving efficiency. In My Life and Work, in their this particular book, they have mentioned this. He was able to reduce the manufacturing effort by 60 to 90% in 1922. Then in 1936, it evaluated like it was developed, and the Toyota starts its first Kaizen process in 1936, post its vertical change from textiles to trucks. So before it was in textiles, and then when they have changed to the trucks, the Toyota, then only they started with the first Kaizen processes in 1936. In 1970s, Toyota production system in 1970s and their pillars, just in time and automation, first pillars of the lean manufacturing. So these are the first pillars of the lean manufacturing, just in time and the automation. So this is how it looks in the chronological order. Then coming to 1988, coined by John Krafkick, lean manufacturing comes to the knowledge of the world. So they have introduced this to the world, this lean as a process, as a whole standardization. So this is what needs to be remembered from the perspective of history of lean, starting from 1911 and 1988. Then let's have a look at the principles of lean. The principles of leans are also known as lean 5. So there are a total 5 principles of lean. These are the main 5 principles and known as the term lean 5. So these 5 principles of lean are basically the guide to effective lean implementation. So once we are totally understanding these principles, once we are able to remember these principles, we will be able to apply it in any project. So what are the principles? Let's quickly have a look at that. The 5 lean principles are: identify value, specify value from customer's standpoint, map the value stream is the next principle, which means identify all the steps that add the value and eliminate those that do not add. So for in first step, we identify the value. So in this, we specify the value from a customer's standpoint, means from a project standpoint in our Six Sigma projects, we can say. After that, next is mapping the value stream. So once we're done with the identification, we identify all the steps that add the value. Then we eliminate the steps that do not. This is the second lean principle. Third principle is create the flow. Uh, Value creating steps should occur in a tight sequence. So there should be a proper flow. So that is also a lean principle, that creating a flow is required. Then establish pull. Uh, in this, let customers pull from upstream activities. So this is also an important principle where establishing the pull is there. Like we establish the pull. In this, we let customers pull from the upstream activities basically. And then the last principle, the lean principle, which is about seeking perfection. So once values are streamed, are or value that are streams that are identified, so we identify them, then we eliminate the waste which are not required, or maybe any non-added, non-value added activity, though then those are reduced. Then the flow happens, like we create the flow, then customer starts pulling, and that is how we continue until the state of perfection is reached. That is how lean works. So this is also, you see, this is also the continual improvement thing. Seeking perfection is the last principle of lean, which is just like repeating these steps unless and until we reach the perfection, we reach our goal basically, whatever is the goal of the lean of the project. Then what are the benefits of implementing the lean? um, so we have some benefits mentioned here, like the it improves the customer service, because of course we are uh, striving for something better, we are striving for the improvement continuously. Then it improves the productivity. How does it improve the productivity? Maybe if you would like to share and give your thoughts, whatever we have discussed till now. Any of you would like to speak on that?
That if you remove the waste, then the productivity will be better because they are doing less non-value added work.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're correct. So when we remove the waste, when we eliminate the activities that are not adding any value to it, then of course the productive would be improved. So productivity will be improved that way. So this is also one of the benefit. Defect and rework reduction. Uh, Also, we will not have to rework on the waste elements or any non value adding activity, and defect also will reduce with that. Waste reduction will happen. There will be improved flow. So if we follow the principles of lean, creating a flow is also one of the principles. So there will be a proper flow of the step by step guides. Then improved lead times and reduced level of inventory that way. So this is from the terms of manufacturing. This as we have seen, so it reduced the level of inventory also. So from the point of view of manufacturing, this is being told. um, then the most important benefit that lean is to help achieve the continuous flow.
So basically,
these are
there
the
is no wait time, there is no waste, there are no unnecessary steps. So it's basically flowing. So there is the continuous flow.
Yeah,
So
when we
nothing is really
remove, yeah, when we
starting.
re
Yeah.
remove the wastage, then of course there will be a proper flow. But how will we achieve that? We will definitely have to achieve that if we follow these steps properly. Otherwise, that will not help if we are not able to follow the principles of lean, right? So this is basically what we understand by lean. These are the benefits, and the most important benefit that we have seen is to help achieve the continuous flow. It helps in that. Yes, Andreas, do you have anything to say?
Can you go back? The fourth
Yeah.
principle, I do not fully get. Establish pull.
Mm-hmm.
How I
So this is
understand it. Yeah. So
okay, so this is one of the principle that we use in the principles of lean. So if we see here in this, what we do is we let the customer pull from the upstream activities. So whatever the upstream activities that are there, so we let the customers do that. See, this is from the point of view of the manufacturing. But if we see from our point of view, so what happens in this pull-based approach? So this is a approach we use the pull-based approach here basically. So in this, the
I get
team
it. Yeah.
understands. Sorry, are you saying something?
I get it now. I get it now. It's a pull-based approach. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a pull-based approach. So in this, the team understands the needs of the customer. So here we basically have to understand what is the need. Basis on that, we can provide value without any excess time or work. So this is basically what is the establishing pull principle. It is a pull-based. I hope that is clear now.
Yes.
Okay. Great. I think others principle should be clear, like creating a flow, mapping the value stream, and seeking perfection. The first one, which was identifying the value, that those are clear, right? Okay. Then I think we are good to move on. The key benefits of implementing the lean. Then the key benefits of implementing the lean, let's see how does it work. So typical lean project benefits summary are these. The productivity should be plus 25%. The scrap levels should be minus 20%. The space should be minus 40%. The delivery should be 26%. And the stock turn should be 33%. This is basically the summary of a typical lean project benefit summary. So when we imply all these things, all the principles and everything, this is how percentage of benefits we will be getting. So we will be getting plus 25% productivity because we will eliminate the wastage and any activity that is not useful. We will be decreasing the scrap levels by 20%. So if there are any scrap or anything which is not useful, so of course it will decrease the space, the delivery and stock turns in terms of manufacturing. It is informed here basically. So the thing that you need to understand here is basically the key benefits and the main from the Lean Six Sigma perspective. If it any project related to that, then understanding the productivity improvements that it might have. So and then when the productivity is there, then of course the delivery of the result, delivery of the project will also increase. Like we will be able to deliver the project timely. Similarly, the scraps levels and these things will decrease. So this is how it basically looks like in terms of percentage, the value. But understanding the key benefits will be more than enough for you to understand the lean, basically what lean is. So these are the important lean 5 principles. Then moving on, why lean before Six Sigma? So why do we use this term as Lean Six Sigma? black belt or green belt or any for that matter. So a black belt should always check the process for waste and reduce it before starting the Six Sigma project. So that is why it is before, using before the Six Sigma. Of course, if we do it like after doing starting the project, then anyway we'll have to go through all the wastage or anything that is not required. So that is why it is always advisable that a black belt professional should check the process for waste and reduce it before starting the Six Sigma project. This is advisable. It is important to first reduce or eliminate the waste in the process before taking on activities to reduce the variation. Reducing variations without eliminating waste will result in the waste hindering with the variation reduction approach. Now, there is an example given here. Checking the efficiency of an overweight runner running a race of 100 meters is worthless. So, if we check any efficiency of the overweight runner who is running the race of the 100-meter, that would not be helpful. So, first, he needs to be leaned. All the waste that is like in this case that we are discussing, removing the extra calories needs to be removed, and then the efficiency needs to be measured. So that is why Six Sigma, we can applying Six Sigma before doing the lean is would be considered as a waste and not helpful. So this is just an example. Like if you would like to share any example how lean can help before applying, so maybe if you have any similar examples you want to discuss as per your understanding, or maybe from your day-to-day work life, if you can think of any examples, so like that.
We are from the IT business, and we are a service company. We do not, we have a part that produces in the end goods, but it's in the end also service. But for sure, average handling times or whatever would be then something for us to improve. But if, the people are not enabled, if they have not the right tools, techniques, that would be then something for me as, waste that we can reduce before we look to improve, and reduce the variance, in the time. So I really get the point. It makes sense.
Yeah, so that is why it is important. So yeah, I just wanted you guys to relate it with your like the work that you are being doing in your day-to-day life. So when you are able to relate these things, then you will understand these principles better, and these the practices that we are talking about. So
And maybe it can be a good example as well that you cannot, for example, automate the process before it's not in the best shape. So it's like if it's not like properly documented and you don't eliminate all of the waste and everything, then you won't be able to
yeah, that is also a
automate
good
it, for
example. So that
example.
correct. That will also result in like we should not be using our the principles, the practices that we are going to use for any wastage activity. That is why we should first remove the wastage, remove such activities, and that is what basically lean is all about. So with that, we come to the summary. Let's just have a quick look what we have discussed. So we have discussed lean, and lean is all about removing and eliminating the wastage. So what is waste? Waste is anything unnecessary in a process, and non-value added activities are activities that for which we are not getting paid, right? That is the waste and non-value added activities. Now, by implementing lean, we can eliminate waste and reduce the non-value added activities by implementing the lean. And how do we implement the lean? We implement the lean by these 5 principles that are there, which is called lean 5 principles as well. Several key benefits that we have discussed, and why should we implement lean before the Six Sigma is what we have discussed. I believe that this thing is clear to you, because with this we complete the lean overview of the lean. So our next chapter is the lean concepts. Now let's see what are we going to discuss in this. So these are the agenda for this. The lean concepts. We will be discussing Varusa Kagan, then 3 M's, 8 types of waste, Tim Woods, then Motanai, Hosen, Kanri is there. These are the uh, basically the concepts that we are going to discuss. The cycle time, the lead time, professional cycle efficiency, the batch size, and then every part, every interval. These are some things that we will be discussing. And then at the end, the standardized work in progress, which is called the SWIP. Now let's start with the first one. So Oversack again. For the want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For the want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For the want of a horse, the battle was lost. For the failure of battle, the kingdom was lost. And all for the want of a horseshoe nail. This is quoted by Gemba Panta Ray. Now, what did you understand by this quote? Like, what is your understanding just by reading this? Can you explain anything about it? Or is it too much for now?
Yeah, I need to digest it. Just let me read it
This is
again.
too much. Okay, I understand. Okay, no problem. Let's see. So what is Varusa Kagan? So it is a condition of badness. It represents small abnormalities that are undetected. It needs a keen management eye to identify these issues. So what it does basically, it identifies the gap that are there between how the ideal process should be and how it is actually performing. So if we see this now, if you're able to relate this, what all is happening in this. So for the want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For the want of the shoe, the horse was lost. But all these are happening all for the want of the horseshoe nail. It started for the horseshoe nail. So this is how what it does. So this basically identifies the gap between the how the ideal the process should be and how it is actually performing. So identifying that gap is very important here. This also represents the small abnormalities that are undetected. Now, how do we deal with this particular thing? By demanding the cleanliness at the workplace, the visual controls that are there, have respect for people, adherence to these standards and the work procedures. These conditions are waste, unevenness, and overburden. So these are the Verusa Kagan conditions basically. After that, we have different others, the concepts as well. So what we will do for now, I'll just maybe we can have our break now, and then after that, I will try to explain these concepts with the help of some good examples also, so that you understand it better. Because of course, that might be a lot to digest for now. So maybe what we can do is we can go for the 1 hour break that is there, and after we meet after the break, we will be continuing this, and we'll be understanding these concepts basically. I'll try to make it more easier for you by giving you some, like real life examples, how we can relate it to those. So that will be helpful. Meanwhile, if you have anything like any suggestion that you would like, want to see that or want to understand that, that is also welcome for. So if is there anything that you would want for now?
I'm fine.
All right,
And
great.
just do we need 1 hour break? I'm just
Yeah, I was thinking the same. Can we shorten the break to maybe 45 minutes or something so that we finish earlier, just to secure this? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. No issues on that. I will be covering the topics that is there. So it's okay. We can finish early as well. I understand. So yeah, okay. We can take this break for the 45 minutes. But
Yeah.
see, it is important to keep having breaks in between because
Yeah.
whatever we have discussed, we must
yeah.
give some time to us. In these particular Japanese concept, the things that are extremely important, but often it is ignored. So what are some things? A very small problem, maybe if that small problem is ignored, then it can trigger into a chain of reactions that may lead to a major failure. That is what basically it is trying to tell. So here, what we see that in this, a tiny nail is missing basically. So for the want of a nail, the shoe was lost. So we started with the missing of a tiny nail, but what happened with that? That causes the shoe to fall off. Then what happened? Because of that, the horse fails as well. Because of that, the battle is lost. So you see how a small thing affects into some major failure. And we did all that because of the we only wanted a horseshoe nail. So this is what we basically understand by this particular that is there. Yes, Sophia, you have something to say?
I think that, for example, companies like ours, where people are working here even for 30 years, for example, or 25 years. And I
Mhm.
think it's very common that, they are saying, yeah, we have been doing this, like in the last 30 years, so it's good enough. So I think this is really challenging to have this mindset that even small changes or small mistakes or small
Yeah.
problem counts. So if you can fix them, then just don't live with them. But
Yeah,
it's because
correct.
I think people get used to live with these tiny problems and they just get used to it, that they are
Yeah.
there anyway, and they just don't take the time to really fix those problems. And if I used to go to a meeting where I'm totally useless, but I went there in the last year every week, then I keep going to that useless meeting instead of, canceling that useless meeting. So I think this is very hard to change the mindset of people to really pay attention to these details and these
Yeah.
small problems.
Correct. So this is what lean basically talks about. Lean concepts are all about these things only, focusing on the small part of it, because it is always the big failures often starts with the very small causes. So that is how it is explained in the Varusa Kagan. Now, that we discussed, so what is Versa Kagan basically? It means any hidden or any tolerated bad conditions, like here we can see a condition of badness, any hidden. Uh, for this, we need a keen management eye to identify these issues, the Versa Kagan issues basically. So these are not the obvious defects. I mean, if we see this proverb that we have seen, so the obvious defect will not be that small part, but these are the things that people usually say about these defects, that maybe they say this is normal, or we have always done like this, or it's not a big issue. That is how the people mindsets work for such type of issue. So what is the challenge with this? Basically, the Varusa Kagan is that nobody escalates such issues, since these issues are quite small, so people usually just let it go. So this is where the roles and responsibility of a black belt practitioner comes. This is the responsibility of the leader and the black belts, that they need to address these issues. So this responsibility lies with them. Now, how to deal with these issues, the Varusa Kagan issues. Now, what do we mean by the first point here, which is about demand cleanliness at workplace? So these are like very small things that uh, require in order to overcome these problems. So demanding cleanliness workplace, what do we mean by that? When we say the cleanliness, we are not only talking about the housekeeping alone. So this cleanliness means a workplace where abnormalities are visible, a workplace where the problems cannot hide. So this is what we mean by that. Similarly, let's see why this matters, like why a cleanliness at a workplace demand is required for Varusa Kaggle. Because what happens if dirt, clutter, and disorder things are there, then it hides the small problems. If there are things uh, that hides it, and maybe tools are scattered. If tools are scattered, if maybe, for example, some files that are piled up, if if there are digital folders that are messy, then of course it will result in maybe delays, errors, or some inefficiencies. So this becomes invisible and accepted. That is why it is important to demand cleanliness at workplace. And with this, we mean by the digital cleanliness as well, having proper organization of the folder so that it will not create any delay. It will create not create any errors for that matter. So definitely you cannot see the hidden waste in a dirty or in a unorganized workplace. That is why it is important. Then visual controls. Now, what do we mean by visual controls? Uh, Visual controls are basically visual controls make the normal and abnormal instantly obvious. So if it is visually like if you can see it visually, then you can identify it. So that is why visual controls are important. So you should be able to tell within a few seconds that okay, if the process is on the track, if is something wrong with this. So you should be able to identify these things very clearly. So that is one thing. And if we talk about some examples of visual control, are you guys able to give me any examples when we talk about the visual controls in terms of dealing with the Varusa Kagan, like the small inefficiencies or small problems that are there? So what kind of controls maybe we can use? Any examples? Yeah.
In our service desk, for example, we have a lot of visual management, so visual boards that show, data, KPIs, SLAs, service level agreements, and how many calls are ongoing, etc. So it's transparent for the people what's going on.
Yeah,
And
correct.
I have seen that in the warehouse, for example, there are these signs really on the wall that where to put the scrap pieces or which go to the like circular services, which is the one that goes to the, so there is everything has like an exact place where the courier company will pick it up. So there is like the certain place that they need to put them, I think. It's a visual control as well.
That can also be a part of visual control. Um, as the Andrea said, the SOPs, the documentations, that is also the correct one. So it should be visually available. Like suppose we do some color codings for some important topics whenever we are doing. So we visual. So in order to understand it visually, we give them the particular color codes. Like for a very normal example, if we are working in any Excel file, we color coded some of the main topics. So that is also an example of visual control. Then there are status boards that you said. Then there are checklists that are visibly posted. So these are all the examples of the visible control. And what is the like basically what is the connection of this to the Varusa Kagan? So visual control survives. So Verusa Kagan basically survives when the status is unclear, where the status is unclear, where the information is hidden, or where the performance is not visible. So that is how it is connected, visual controls and the Verusa Kagan. So visual controls expose any small problems before they grow up. And that is how we can explore these problems with using these some of these small things that we use in our daily work. Next is have respect for people. Now, what do we understand by this? This point is critical and it is often misunderstood also. Have respect for people. So, respect for people does not clearly mean that ignoring the problems, accepting poor practices, avoiding difficult conversations. It does not mean only these things. What it really means. Now, let's see. Respect for people means involving them in problem solving and listening to their ideas. Respect in this term. So this is often misunderstood when we say that having respect for people, it's like only, accepting whatever they are saying and, not saying anything about their, like just taking their opinions and having like avoiding difficult conversations. So when we say respect for people means involving them in the process, in the problem solving process, listening to their ideas, listening to their opinions, and ensuring improvements make works easier and not harder. Yeah, you have anything to
Yeah,
add
I
on?
think it's very easy to have that assumption that, something is not working because people are poor. So like, they are not doing their
It
work,
often
they are
happens.
lazy or stuff like that. But actually, we just should look at the process and see, do they have SOPs? Did they get the proper training? Do they really know what they need to do? Are they enabled? So I think many times this can be an issue as well, that we just say that, yeah, those are very lazy people, but maybe the process and the SOPs are not the best.
Yes, correct. So this is the how we should involve. So involving people also is a part of that, respecting people, like have respect for people. Now, how it is connected with Varusa Kagan? So, many of these Varusa Kagan conditions exist because employees give their feedback. Because no one, but like maybe employees have given their feedback earlier, but no one has acted on it. So they stopped speaking up. That can be one situation. So that is a small problem here, which can maybe result into something big. So that is these are the small problems that we need to adhere. So people don't ignore problems because they don't care. They ignore them because they feel nothing will change. That is often happens with us. So even if we care, but we feel like, oh, nothing is going to change. This process is like that only. So this is what happens. Then next is adherence to the standards and the work procedures. So these are just steps that how can we deal with these Varusa Kagan. So next is adhering the standards and work procedures. So what do we mean by that? Standard work is basically the baseline for the improvement. So there is SOPs like we use. So SOPs is worked as the baseline for any procedure. So if there are no standards, what will happen? There is no abnormal, everything becomes acceptable if there are no standards. So it is very important to have the standard procedures. So that is also one thing. And when standards are poorly defined or not followed or not updated, so that is also what happened. So this also becomes a small problem, but it will result in something very big. So without standards, hidden waste cannot be challenged. So we must have standards and adhering to the standards and work procedures. Next, okay, after this is Varsa Kagan conditions. So these are the three conditions. Also, these are called the three M's. The next concept that we will be discussing is related to these only. So these are the Warsaw Kagan conditions. Muda, Mura, and Muri. So what do we mean by that? Muda means waste. Now, um, uh, these are activities basically what do we mean by waste? These are the activities that does not add any customer value, that consumes time, effort, and money, and these have been normalized. So if you remember, maybe there are some of these small activities in your process also that you might feel this is not adding any value, this is just time consuming, effort and money, and this is just has been like normalized. So it happens in many processes, and that is why we have a Lean Six Sigma process to identify these things, right? So this is what we mean by the waste, which is called muda. Now, if you see some examples of that, like um, so for example, if there is a process for which we require some particular approvals, but now we see that just because of the approvals and just because of the level of approvals, that process is taking a lot of time and it will result into something big. Maybe we will miss a deadline or something like that. So that is what we mean by that. Uh, and then maybe there are other examples also. Would you like to share some of the examples that you can think of? Muda, basically, the waste.
Can be a transportation waste, for example, when we deliver something into an incorrect address and then we need to take it back and then deliver it to the good address, for example.
Yeah, that also, because that is consuming the time, the effort, and that is adding no value to the customer. So that is also a kind of waste, muda. Yeah, Andrea, do you have anything to say, Andreas?
Yeah, it's just unnecessary things, in the end. It can be a lot of things, unnecessary compliance checks that do not add value in anyhow. So it's really anything that is, where the customer does not pay for, in the end. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and it does not add any value. So
Mm.
this is the thing. Similarly, it happens in so many processes that reworking or maybe waiting for something, maybe for some approval or something. So that is also sometimes has been normalized in a lot of processes or situations, but that is considered as a muda, which is a waste. So here, if we can see. The three M's are Varasakagan conditions that lean helps in eliminating or reducing. So these are the three major three M's. Muda means wasteful work or work that does not add any value. Then the next is Mura. So what do we mean by Mura? Mura is basically unevenness. So when things are unsteady, the unsteady work happening irregularly. So Mura refers to uneven workloads, maybe peaks and valleys in demand, or maybe end of the month pressure that is there. So that is these are the some examples of Mura that we what we mean by that. So these uneven patterns are often accepted as normal, which is a Varusa Kagan, means it is a hidden, like a small thing that might effect as something big. So that is evenness, like which is it is happening like irregularly. There is no proper. So what happens, like if we take an example of uneven workload. So this is the role of the black belt person or the top management to define and to basically divide the roles among the team members properly, so that no one has like uneven workload. Like if one person has overloaded with work, or the other person has like enough work or maybe less work. So this is what we mean by mura, means unevenness. And then if we talk about the third one, which is muri, the third M of these Varsa Kagan is muri, which is inefficient work, means basically overburden. So when does this happen? When people are overworked, when they are overburdened, or maybe in terms of machines, if we talk about. So machines are pushed beyond their limits. That is when the third M Muri is happen. And when, if we talk about in terms of the processes, like if there are some unrealistic targets set for the particular process, that will also come as a problem only, right? Because the target is unrealistic, it is